could we just not? Is there any conceivable, possible way we could just not? Just once, just for one franchise. Is there any possibility that we could just look at Godzilla, the skyscraper-sized lizard destroying Japan, and all agree this is not a tale about gender? This has nothing to do with your genitalia, preferred or otherwise, in fact. Could it just be a movie? Is there any chance that could happen? Of course not. It is the current year after all. Retweet to scare weird chud Godzilla tourists. This, incidentally, as I say here, is why I know that Godzilla has finally become properly popular, because suddenly the skyscraper-sized lizard is indeed about some people's gender, or their preferred gender, or their illusion of gender, etc., etc. Fantastic. Now, hopefully, this isn't necessarily going to balloon into that much of a thing, but I found it just retarded anyways, because, okay, fair enough, right? You can extrapolate political meaning from literally anything if you simply just choose to do so hard enough. You can extrapolate political meaning from milk if you really, really, really desperately want to, and you're leftist enough. A troubling link between milk and racism. And the best part of this article is it even says, white supremacists claim they're just trolling liberals with their milk love. Because this started out as a 4chan gag thinking, hey, maybe we can make the crazies think milk is a white power symbol. And guess what? They succeeded. And sure, you can absolutely extract political meaning from some Godzilla stuff, absolutely. Nuclear energy being dangerous, for example, potentially creating monsters, particularly nuclear weapons, with Godzilla being the literal monster. Okay, that one's pretty obvious in and of itself. Godzilla versus Biolante. You gotta be careful when you're starting to mess around with human genetics, etc., etc. But Godzilla, in and of himself, is not a particularly political creature. And a lot of this, of course, came about from explicitly political people. As the critical drinker simply made a video saying, yeah, I recommend Godzilla -1. It's a pretty goddamn good movie. And over to the side, we hear loud and incoherent screeching. Get out of my franchise, says the person with the Palestine and the trans flag in their bio. Bisexual, Godzilla fan, autistic and ADHD, they, them. You don't really need the dividing line in between there. They're all the same, more or less, general genre of delusion, frankly. And of course, Free Palestine, retweeting things like, experts suggest that Israel's war on Gaza will hinder normalization plans with Arab nations. I'm sure it will. I'm absolutely certain it will. But hey, considering they were recently exposed to a terrorist attack specifically targeting innocent civilians, I'll never care. I do love how that part of the conversation has just disappeared as well. Like, we've already forgotten about that. See, I said immediately when this shit started kicking off, this was going to become a simple PR contest, where both sides are going to be screeching as loudly as they can about their point of view, until one begins to completely just drown out the other. And this is all it is now, a giant PR contest, where the goldfish-like memory of your average human being is put to the test as it is being asked to remember something that happened, multiple weeks ago. And of course, after getting a ton of backlash for being shut up, it's Godzilla. They go on, I'm getting hounded by people with anime profile pictures, which I know like half of them are pedos. So, if I had the Palestine flag and the trans flag in my bio and was describing myself as they, them, I don't think I'd be accusing anyone of pedophilia for fear of shattering the house I was currently sitting inside of. And the other is people with Crusade Knight helmets. Good. And this delves into... So, you know, I'm wondering, why the hell is this happening? Where even is the connection between trans people and Godzilla? which seems like a bit of a weird one, as one of the responses to my post kind of pointed out. Massive, oversized, hideous monster created by science mutating a poor creature, kills countless people, leaves nothing but destruction, horrifically, English, toxic, responds to any perceived aggression or weakness with violence, becomes trans icon. What did they mean by this? It's a very good question. But this is actually a long-standing thing in the alphabet soup community, having also adopted the Badabook as an LGBTQ icon, how terrorizing a white Australian family became an act of queer defiance. Remember how I said you can extrapolate political meaning from literally anything? Well, terrorism, I suppose, is... Okay, you know what? When we circle this around, it suddenly makes a lot more sense why we're heading in this particular... Okay, no, you know, this is actually the perfect explanation. Because a lot of people have been wondering, hold on, why are the LGBTQ so in support of Palestine? You know, these people would throw you off the nearest roof rather than look at you, right? Well, they're still in support of them because of their historical and well-documented love of monsters. That's why. If Pennywise, the child-eating eldritch monstrosity, can be a gay icon, then I guess Hamas is actually the lesser of the two or the three evils in question here, isn't it? Or the four. To be fair, I think Godzilla is actually a little bit more destructive than Hamas, so I guess the scales of LGBTQ preference is Godzilla, an actual walking natural disaster, a literal terrorist organization, and then the supernatural entities that just kill a handful of people here and there. You know the old saying, like, everyone's the protagonist of their own story? You know, nobody views themselves as the villain? There must be a limit, surely. You must, at some point, run up against the wall of your own villainy, look at your heroes, and go, how did I get here? What choice led me down this particular path? Why am I identifying with the child-eating monster and the creature that feeds off fear and despair? Oh, and again, the literal terrorist organization. How did I arrive here? How did my identity politics lead me to this particular point in time? It's a valuable question that really should be asked a lot more often. But bring this back on the point again, all right? At some point, we are going to need to return to a period where everything does not have to be political, where we can actually watch the movie about the giant lizard rampaging through Tokyo and just go, wow, it's a very big monster, and he's stepping on some really big buildings, and the Japanese are powerless to stop him. That's pretty cool. Instead of going, yes, this is a commentary on the dangers of uncontrolled nuclear exploitation, creating monsters that might end up damaging those who rely upon it the most. Which, to be fair, is a better extrapolation than, he's confused about his gender identity. But still, see, so many of these movies had messages. But the beauty of it was that back in the day, none of us needed to worry about politics. We literally didn't need to care about it. We could just ignore it. Politics was something old people discussed. Somebody who'd already been banged in the buttocks for the last 17 years with ever-increasing taxes. They got interested in politics because politics was actively harming them. Meanwhile, the rest of us were playing our stupid video games, watching our dumbass movies, and just enjoying life. This, in part, is the reason why, by the way, environmentalist movies got so unfathomably preachy and ham-fisted. Because if you simply moved in a subtle environmentalist point, people would look at it and go like, the burning forest looks kind of cool. because we didn't need to bother with it. It was simply not an aspect of the average human being's necessary day-to-day existence. We didn't all need to be political philosophers. Most of us could simply just live life. I suppose that is one aspect in which the far left has been successful, as it has managed to turn damn near everything into just politics. Even the mass-murdering lizard. But the rest of us, can we just agree to not lewd, or in this case, politicize lizard? Is there any hope? Is there any possibility? I am asking and begging you to let this one genocidal, towering monstrosity pass you by without wondering if he's a trans icon. Just one. Thank you very much for your consideration. Have a good day.